So the questions about the border, why are people in Washington just have no interest in? Because they don't care about you. That's why. They don't care about what is happening to this country. They are in power, and they are perfectly willing to let this country disintegrate because it doesn't affect them.
The Democratic Party isn't. They are not on our side. They are Bolsheviks. They are an anti-American, a very powerful, the most powerful anti-American organization ever within our borders. They are the Democrat Party. That was Ron DeSantis. They don't care about us. Now, I told you a story. When was this? A couple of weeks ago. Not even. It was a little more than a week ago. About a 95-year-old Korean War veteran, Frank Tomorrow. Frank Tomorrow was kicked out of his senior housing to make room in New York City, in Staten Island, to make room for illegal aliens. A 95-year-old man, a Korean War veteran, a blood-sopped war against the communists. Now the communists are here, and they're getting revenge on Frank Tomorrow when he's 95 years old, kicked out of his New York nursing home at short notice so it could be turned into housing for undocumented migrants, overwhelming the city. The Daily Mail had the story. CNN didn't because they could care less. Now, that goes with a story out today. Fans' hotel reservations for Army-Navy game at Gillette Stadium canceled due to migrant influx. I'm sorry, what is this? The Army-Navy, the annual ritual, the football game between the U.S. Naval Academy and West Point, one of the great games all year long. My best girl and I went with friends up to Philadelphia several years ago now for the Army-Navy game, something I'd wanted to do forever and ever, and finally got to the Army-Navy game. Now, here we are at Foxborough, Massachusetts. A number of people who booked hotel rooms in Massachusetts months in advance of the Army-Navy college football game at Gillette Stadium in December are now learning their reservations were canceled due to the recent influx of migrants to the state. So the Democrats, Joe Biden, they are a gang. Mark Mansbach, owner of the Hillsdale Travel Agency, said he booked 400 hotel rooms in the Foxborough area for clients, most of whom are veterans. According to Mansbach, he was recently informed that at least 70 of those reservations were canceled unceremoniously in order to make room for migrants now staying there. That is to say, illegal aliens. That's pretty much, they pretty much said, listen, we can't help you with rooms for your clients. We're just going to cancel the rooms. And that was it, Mansbach said. It was a done deal. I mean, they'd already started taking in migrants. I was very concerned and troubled to hear that any veteran may have had their rooms canceled, Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey lied on Wednesday. Healey said she's directed her Secretary of Veterans Affairs to help those veterans who had their hotel reservations canceled. Why don't you drag the illegal aliens out and deport their asses? How about that? But for many of them, the damage is already done. As I understand it, those were decisions made by area hotels. Sure, that's what the governor says because she's a Lion Sacagawea. That's Massachusetts, home of one of the original Lion Sacagawea, the fake Cherokee Indian with papaw and high cheekbones, Elizabeth Warren. And what's Elizabeth Warren doing about it? So here it is, and a lot of them are going to be West Point graduates, served as officers, Naval Academy graduates, served as officers, and your Democrat Party is kicking the veterans, and he's getting these tickets is a big deal, and then getting a hotel room is a big deal, and then the illegal party, the Democrat Party, says, well, hey, sorry you lost your hotel room, but screw you because we hate America and we hate you. And if you served in the military, we hate you even more because that's your Democrat Party. The mayor of Chicago, let's go, Brandon Johnson, has announced now that he's planning a trip to the southern border. He's planning a trip to the southern border. Migrants dropped off at Willis Tower. That used to be the Sears Tower, the tallest building in the world when it was built. And in the country to this day, officials with the Department of Homeland Security will meet with some city council members, along with Mayor Let's Go Brandon Johnson, who is a criminal, in his office to discuss an upcoming trip to the southern border. The mayor said he wants to visit the border to see the conditions there firsthand as the city's migrant crisis grows. Kind of a long way from our southern border, Chicago is. But he's not offered any details on when he would visit the southern border because he, too, is a lion, Sacagawea, and a criminal. Meanwhile, Alderman Brian Hopkins wrote on social media Wednesday night, a busload of migrants has arrived at Sears Tower. He's still calling it the Sears Tower. They changed the name to the Willis Tower, but I still call it the Sears Tower, too. Building management was not expecting them and says they can't stay in the lobby. Let's go out to the lobby. Let's go out to the lobby. Mayor Johnson said as many as 22 busloads of migrants, meaning illegal alien criminals, could be arriving daily. Good. Because the Democrats don't care. And that's what Ron DeSantis was just saying a couple of moments ago there. So veterans, Army-Navy game, kicked out of their hotel rooms. All right, let's go back to the phones. The Democrats are just not on our side. And which nitwit? Oh, the mayor of New York, the nitwitted mayor of New York, who's an idiot, and he's a Democrat, of course, and he loves the sanctuary city thing until it becomes a sanctuary city, and now he's headed to Mexico City. Hey, ba-da-bum, ba-da-bum. Ba-da-ba-da, and then he's going to beautiful and exotic Panama, and then he's going to Ecuador. Now, these because he wants to go see what the illegals are doing, and he says he wants to talk them out of coming to New York. They should all be brought to New York and Chicago and Martha's Vineyard. They got to get back to bringing them to Martha's Vineyard, too. Yeah, so the mayor of New York is headed to merry old Mexico City, where my best girl and I went on vacation a couple of years ago. We went to a friend's wedding in Mexico City. In fact, we were texting with them yesterday. They're down in the islands now. And Louise and Susan. And my best girl and I went on vacation to Panama, where we transited. We went to the top of the Panama Canal and got on a ship and came down. And we've been to Ecuador on vacation, too, to Guayaquil, and also we went out to the Galapagos, which is owned by the country of Ecuador, the government of Ecuador. But we went on vacation to Ecuador. We went on vacation to Panama. We went on vacation to Mexico. And these are all countries that people are fleeing because they're too dangerous and too awful, yet they're places that we go on vacation. And if that makes sense to you, then you're a Democrat. Am I right? We went to Quito and high elevation, thin air, up to the top of the mountain. Lots of military generals marching around in our hotel with officials and then Guayaquil, closer to the coasts, and then, of course, the Galapagos Islands. Vacation to Panama, stayed in the Trump Hotel on the water there. Big Trump Tower, great place. Mexico City, beautiful, lots of armored vehicles racing around with, men carrying machine guns because, they've got liberalism there, too. Isn't that amazing? Just amazing stuff. All right, let's go to the telephones. Let's go to Daniel, calling from Aurora, Illinois. Daniel, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet your bottom dollar.
So I was just calling to comment on the whole student loan forgiveness thing. I'm one of the people you mentioned that majored in pottery. I got a degree from Utah State University.
Did you really?
I found a job.
Is that right?
Yeah, I found a job and paid my $60,000 back. I just don't know why people think that they're a victim of this federal student loan thing. And if they are a victim, who victimized them? The government that loaned them the money. So it's really unfair that people are going to get forgiveness in any aspect, I think.
Now, I made a crack earlier, and this is what prompted your call, no doubt. I made a crack earlier. I said, so you go and you spend lots of money going to college and you get a degree in pottery, and then you move into your mom's basement and smoke dope, right? And then you expect somebody else, me, to come along and pay off your college loans, right? Now, you called in to make clear, hey, I went to Utah State, I had a degree in pottery, and now I'm making a great living, and I paid and you love your life because you're doing what you like. Is that your story?
Yeah, essentially, you summed it up pretty well.
Well, that's good. Look, that's a great story. Whatever you get your degree in, if you actually then do that and make a living, and here's the key, Daniel, and you're happy doing that, then life is good, and that's what college is for. And if you went in thinking this is what I want to do, and then people obviously like you do make a living being potters, and you probably teach other people as well, I'm guessing, do you? Or are you so talented that you sell your work as basically art?
No, that would be a supplemental form of income, but I'm a manager of a ceramic supply distribution center here in Northern Illinois. So, I use my skills and abilities that I gained in college, but it doesn't matter what you major in. If you took the risk to loan the money, you should pay it back no matter what. And if they're giving, frivolous loans out, then, they need to stop doing that instead of repaying people's loans. That's what I think. But, I really appreciate you taking my call. And yeah, I did take offense to that little crack, because not everyone who majors in art decides to go back and live in their mom's basement. We're go-getters out there too.
That's fair enough, and I'm glad that you called in, and I'm glad that we talked. I really am, and you're absolutely right. And you obviously learned somewhere in life, either in college or before or after college, all of the important lessons in life about being self-sufficient and standing on your own 2 feet and finding something you want to do and being happy doing it, and making a good living, and being being an American. And I think you're a great story, Daniel.
Well, thanks.
You bet. Thanks. Honestly, I think that's great. Decided what he wanted to do. He went to college. He did it. Now it's his business. He's a happy guy. He paid off his student loans. That's great. And I made a crack about getting a degree in pottery, but that's okay. Daniel straightened me out, and that's good. Most people, I think, that get degrees in pottery don't go on to prosperous careers, but maybe many do. What do I know? I haven't actually tracked that. Thanks, Daniel. Fun call. That's when people talk about at the dinner table. That's fun. And we've had a lot of calls today that people talk about at the dinner table. President Joseph Robinette Biden has a nefarious plan to inflict the digital dollar on us. Who needs the U.S. dollar and paper money? It's very important to understand the potential consequences here, because notwithstanding the falsehoods they're telling us, this initiative is not in your best interest or mine. And it's important to get smart on this topic, because your retirement and your savings are at stake. You can help protect your savings from Joe Biden's harebrained digital dollar scheme by diversifying your money with IRAs in gold and silver, precious metals. You get started by calling the experts at American Alternative Assets. You can call them at 888-4GOLD-20, 888-446-5320. They'll give you all the guidance you need on safeguarding your retirement and your savings. Say no to Joe Biden's digital dollar. Call today, 888-4GOLD-20. Individual results may vary. There is no guarantee that past performance of gold and silver would be indicative of future results. Seek your own legal, tax, investment, and financial advice before opening an account. And now, Carlos Santana. I've got a lot more coming up for you How much of it will I be able to get to? President Trump in New York in court, and that crazy radical leftist extremist attorney general, Letitia James, she's a hate-filled monster. She really is. And your transgender children, because the Democrats love transgender children, and not in a good way. Hey, it's Chris Plant, excited to tell you about our July 2024 Listener Sea Cruise. We'll be sailing around the British Isles, visiting Scotland and Ireland. Please join us. Book by this July 31st for extra savings. Visit ChrisPlantCruise.com. Now, free speech is under attack in the United States of America because the left. And they have the left in Switzerland as well. And the headline is, Swiss LGBTQ groups praise jail sentence for commentator who called a journalist a, quote, fat lesbian, end quote. The Associated Press out of Geneva, Switzerland, says LGBTQ groups, left-wingers, hailed the 60-day jail sentence a court in Switzerland gave to a writer and commentator for deriding a fellow journalist as a, quote, fat lesbian, end quote, among other critical remarks. The Lausanne court sentenced French-Swiss polemicist Alain Bonnet, who also goes by the name Alain Soral, for the his a nom de plume, for the crimes of defamation, discrimination, and incitement to hatred. He was ordered to pay legal fees and fines totaling thousands of Swiss francs, which isn't real money, so that doesn't matter. In addition to the 60 days behind bars, Sorel lashed out at Catherine Macherel, a journalist for a Swiss newspaper, Tribune de Genève. And in a Facebook video 2 years ago, he called her a fat lesbian, said that Macherel worked as a queer activist, which is a badge of honor, being a queer activist, said that she was unhinged, according to Swiss public broadcaster RTS. The court's decision is an important moment for justice and rights for LGBTQI people in Switzerland. Start putting them in jail now for the things that they've said. Said Muriel Wagner, the co-director of the lesbian activist group LOS. Is it a fat lesbian group? Because that could be important. She said in a statement, the conviction of Alain Soral is a strong signal that homophobic hatred cannot be tolerated in our society. The only thing not to be tolerated is intolerance. And they'll put you in jail for speech. Now, she is a lesbian. I don't know what she weighs, but if that's an imprisonable offense, then Western civilization is in trouble.
Fat broads and horse-faced lesbians.
Excuse me, I'm fixing my stapler. My stapler got jammed. Happens a lot. Had to fix it. Didn't take much. Now, Daniel in Aurora, Illinois, I hope you're still listening, because I wouldn't say I'm being bombarded, but I'm kind of being bombarded a little bit again. I've got Seaton checking in, and I've got Robert checking in. And let's see, who else is it? Did he drop off? Who is it? And somebody called in to say, Daniel, you know, you got a degree in pottery in Utah, but now you're managing a distribution center. You're, you know, unless you're doing pottery and making a living off pottery, you're a businessman, you know, like Eddie Murphy. You're a businessman. And you're a manager of a business, and it has to do with ceramics and things. But it's being pointed out by several people. And congratulations to you. You're manager of a distribution center, and that's great. So good stuff. That has nothing to do with fat lesbian going to jail for calling somebody a fat lesbian. Jail, 60 days in jail. That's pretty crazy. All right, let's get to President Trump in New York, where the Democrat left lynch mob is pursuing the political enemies of the Democrat Party and trying to jail them like they do in third world countries, because the left is a third world country wherever they are, and they are here. That is a fact, Jack. Now, and then Joe Biden. I hope we have time to get to Joe Biden being dumb, too, because, boy, this guy is really something. Boy, is he. I was talking about another $9 billion for the. In fact, let's go to number 22. Joe Biden yesterday saying, hey, I'm buying more votes with taxpayer money that we're just going to put on the tab, and I'll be long, long, long gone before we pay off the first dollar. Joe Biden with now $127 billion of our dollars, not his dollars, to pay off other people's college loans. And Daniel, who got a degree in pottery, says in Utah, paid off his more than $60,000 in student loans. Joe Biden ponying up billions more, billions and billions more. How much for the border? It's an open border. The money was already appropriated when President Trump was president, though. It's an open border. Mayorkas says we need to build a wall now. He's lying. And in the meantime, they're kicking 95-year-old Korean War veterans out of their retirement homes to make room for illegal aliens, that should be 60 minutes every Sunday. And they're kicking veterans out of their hotel rooms who wanted to go see the Army-Navy game because of the open borders. But Joe Biden is buying votes with student loan relief, billions, $127 billion. That's completely insane. And yesterday he revealed that he has no idea what he's doing. And he's trying to explain to people, here's the website you go to get your free student loan money.
You can sign up for the SAVE plan at studentaid.gov/save. Studentaid.gov/save.
I'm sorry, what is it? Student Aid SAFE, and they always create an acronym. It's the SAVE Act, and then that means nobody's saving. They call it the SAFE Act. That means everybody's going to be killed. You're a Democrat Party. All right, let's get to, all right, let's do this one too. ESPN host, who's a lovely and talented woman, Sage Steele. Sage Steele. She is, isn't she? And she was on with Bill Maher on they pay him millions of dollars to be a leftist. And here he is, Bill Maher with Sage Steele of ESPN. She did an interview with Joe Biden because he won't do real interviews, but he sat down with a pretty girl from ESPN, and she apparently got a heap and helping of him.
I don't like him. No. I think he's a terrible president. However, forget that. The human aspect of what we're witnessing right now with him, to me, is heartbreaking, and it's inexcusable by the family. And so I'm trying to just fill time. And he said, I used to play football. And he started to explain it. And here's the saddest thing. His voice just trailed off. He said, I was good. And then he went silent and he goes, oh, never mind.
Because he just drifted off and forgot what he was saying because he's senile and he shouldn't be president. And the biggest lie the American people, well, God, I don't know. What's the biggest lie the American people have ever been told? Is that Joe Biden's a good president, that Barack Obama's on our side, that Russian collusion, that the dossier is intelligence, that honestly the lies are so big and it's like a B-52 bombing run of lies on the American people. They've been telling us, and now these idiots are saying that mayor of New York is going to Mexico and to Panama and to Ecuador, which are literally places that my best girl and I have been on vacation, and we're told they have to flee those places because it's so terrible. And I go on vacation there. And Seaton is texting me over here, yeah, Ecuador is great, isn't it? He goes to Ecuador. Ecuador is great. Just amazing. The Democrat Party, they're the left. They're not liberals. They're the left. Completely insane. I'm telling you. So many crazy stories. Also, the Daily Signal from the Heritage Foundation, an exclusive Biden nominee to protect son Hunter from whistleblowers. Oversight chair says. The Daily Signal Heritage Foundation. President Joe Biden has nominated a former colleague of his son, Hunter Biden. They worked together at a law firm representing Ukrainian energy company Burisma. He's been nominated to run an internal watchdog agency in his administration. Biden tapped lawyer Hampton Dellinger to lead the Office of Special Counsel, an agency that primarily investigates whistleblower complaints and misuse of federal office for partisan political ends. The move should raise concerns since it comes at a time when whistleblowers from the Internal Revenue Service and the Justice Department have criticized the credibility of a years-long government investigation into Hunter Biden. House Oversight and Accountability Chairman James Comer said on Wednesday. President Biden's decision to appoint Hunter Biden's former colleague as head of the Office of Special Counsel, which is investigating Hunter Biden, raises concerns that he's trying to protect his son instead of whistleblowers, Comer said. They couldn't be more corrupt. This is the third worlding of the United States of America at a record pace. Just extraordinary. Just extraordinary. And of course, at the same time, Newsweek reports that Donald Trump's followers targeted by FBI as 2024 election nears. Just extraordinary. And they've stood up an anti-terrorist team to track, monitor, and of course eventually prosecute Donald Trump supporters because unga balunga, balunga unga. Honestly, just extraordinary. All right, let's go to number 24. President Trump in court yesterday in New York, where a radical leftist, Letitia James, is prosecuting the president. She ran, it's an elected office, she ran on the promise that she would prosecute President Trump, and now she's prosecuting President Trump. Just extraordinary. Amazing. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. But yes, what's her name? Sage Steele is no longer with the ESPN, but she's a longtime ESPN person. I think she was forced out because she was critical of vaccine mandates, and she may have even been critical of Barack Obama. And she's a black woman, so you have to be fired if you do that. Here's President Trump in court yesterday in New York, where he's being persecuted and prosecuted by the radical left in the United States and this criminal Letitia James. President Trump.
The corrupt attorney general sued me for fraud, and then they found out they had no case. And they have no case. And today, if you read the New York Law Journal, they basically say they have no case against Trump.
Letitia James, the corrupt attorney general that he's talking about, who brought these charges without any bank complaining, without any insurer complaining, without any builder complaining. She just took it upon herself to gin up charges because there's some narrow interpretation of a New York state law that allows her to do so. President Trump in court yesterday.
But I'm here, stuck here, and I can't campaign. I'd rather be right now in Iowa. I'd rather be in New Hampshire or South Carolina or Ohio or a lot of other places, but I'm stuck here because I have a corrupt attorney general that communicates with the DOJ in Washington to keep me nice and busy because I'm leading Biden in the polls by a lot.
Amazing. Man, oh man. That's right. He's running for president, and the Democrats are trying to cut him off at the knees. Like to be in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Ohio, doing what he ought to be doing, and that's campaigning for president. Also, have you noticed that the audio is third world as well? We used to have professional camera crews in the United States, and you'd have a directional mic, they call them shotgun mics, on a fish pole, telescoping aluminum pole. President Trump yesterday at the courthouse in New York.
This is election interference. They made up a fake case, and the judge already knows what he's going to do. He's a Democrat judge. In all fairness to him, he has no choice. He has no choice. He's run by the Democrats. I know this city better than anybody knows this city. There's nobody knows it like I do. He's a Democrat judge out of the clubhouses. He's controlled, and it's a shame.
And it's a shame. Letitia James, radical leftist extremist. Biden calls MAGA extremist. That's why the FBI has been unleashed on Trump supporters. And as maybe our first caller today said, Philip, the FBI, all honorable FBI agents should resign. Should walk in and hand in their badge, because you have retirement to think about stuff. Hand in your badge and gun. Everybody, all the agents should gather in front of Main Justice, as they call it. Remember when CBS hired Eric H. Holder Jr. to do a TV show called Main Justice, and they paid him, and then they never did a TV show because the corruption, the merger of state and corporate power between the Democrats and all these the information oligarchs generally. Here's the radical extremist Letitia James, who has charged the political enemy of the Democrat Party in an effort to steal a presidential election in 2024. Remember, Hillary Clinton said vast right-wing conspiracy already has a plan in place to steal the 2024 election, and she still says the 2016 election was stolen. And Terry McAuliffe, former DNC chair and governor, still says the 2000 election was stolen and that the 2004 election was stolen. Now, just don't say the election was stolen if you're a Republican, because you might end up in jail for speech crimes or something. This is the left. Letitia James, a radical and an extremist.
Mr. Trump's comments were offensive. They were baseless. They were void of any facts and or any evidence.
Avoid?
What they were comments that unfortunately fomented violence.
Fomented.
Comments that I would describe as race baiting. And comments, unfortunately, that appeals to the bottom of our humanity. I will not be bullied.
She's real tough. She meant devoid, not avoid. And what was the other one she had? Foment, not foment. She meant to say foment. She said foment. She meant to say devoid, and she said avoid. She's the Democrat Attorney General abusing her power in the state of New York. Letitia James.
Mr. Trump is no longer here. The Donald Trump show is over. This was nothing more than a political stunt, a fundraising stop.
She's a racist.
We continue to go forward with our trial, and we are confident that justice will be served.
The lynch mob has convened. This is the left. They're not liberals. They're the left. And I'm sorry, this is a political stunt. This whole trial is a political stunt. What was that movie, Injustice for All? This whole thing is a sham. This is a disgrace. She is un-American. She is abusing her power. She ran on lynching President Trump, and now she's doing it.
You are out of order. You're out of order. You're out of order. The whole trial is out of order. They're out of order.
They're all out of order. I just mentioned that out of the blue. We had not planned on using that. I just said it's, Al Pacino, right? And Justice for All. And I just mentioned it. Michael Piercy, boom, has the audio there. The maestro. Good stuff. They're not liberals. They're the left. The Democratic Party isn't. The left is coming for your rights. If you go to the Chris Plant store on Al Gore's Amazing Internet, you'll see items with, I think, at least two of those sayings on there, right? The left is coming for... We have the President Trump mugs and shirts with the mug shot, and the left is coming for your rights, among other things. The Democratic Party hates children, as you know. They exterminate 40% of the African-American babies in the womb. And what do they have? 67 million abortions or something like that. And then the schools and the single-parent households and the school-to-prison pipeline. And they want to change everybody's gender. Now, in Pennsylvania, there is an interesting case of a school board that was compelled to reverse their policy. They have a 9-member school board. And the school board, by 5-4, said, oh, yeah, we're going to have boys showering and going to the bathrooms with girls. And then parents got involved, and they were able to swing one vote but 4 Democrats still want to. Now, here's a mom at the school board meeting in Pennsylvania.
I know as an adult, I would not want to enter a bathroom and find a biological male in that space. So why should we allow this for our precious children?
Mom at the school board meeting speaking up. I don't want a man in the bathroom with me, and I'm an adult, so why would we want this for our precious children? Well, children aren't precious. And then another mom at the same school board meeting.
If you can't control vaping, smoking, drugs, and everything else in the bathrooms, who's going to monitor that? Who's going to protect those in the bathroom from those who don't belong in there?
Pennsylvania high school, where the parents showed up at the school board meeting and they turned the worm. Yet another mother at the same school board meeting.
I'm here asking, how did we get to this place where we're all supposed to pretend that the only way you know if I am a female is to give you my pronoun?
Honestly, you see, common sense is taking over, I hope, in the United States of America. And the Perkiomen Valley School Board, they passed what the news media calls a controversial policy, and that is that boys are boys and girls are girls. I was having a conversation with a doctor this morning. I had a doctor's appointment before I came in, and we were laughing about the Democrats, not recognizing the basic science that there are men and women, boys and girls. Then a father at the school who really got the ball rolling, named Tim Jagger, whose daughter was in the girls' room, and then there's a man standing next to her because Democrats.
There's been plenty of online posts, hating me, hating my child, hating other children that spoke up.
Democrats.
Even the board members that were for this. I mean, it's extremely disturbing to see some of the posts online. I mean, some people were even threatening to go to banquets that the school board members were attending just to rile up the situation, which is
just to threaten them and menace them and do what the Democrats always do.
Something really important coming up for us in November. There's an election. School board. So it's really important that we go out and vote.
We never thought that school board elections were very important, but now we know better because the left, like termites, have been taking over every level of government. They abuse their power at every level of government. From your local environmental board, your water board, your school board. Stop them. Stop them for God's sake.